Hello and welcome to our webinar. My name is Michael, and I'm a senior client partner here at MarianaTek, and I'll be your host today. So, welcome to another one of our webinars. In today's episode, we're going to focus on boosting your MarianaTek platform with custom software solutions. And for this, I'm joined by Tom Grimm from LifeFlow Fitness. And Darek Koczewski, who's the Chief Growth Officer here at MarianaTek. So I think it would make sense to start with some brief introduction, guys. So Tom, maybe let's start with Tom. So Tom, what is LifeFlow Fitness? What is it all about?
Sure. Well, just as background, my day job, my primary job is an innovation consultant. And so I like to develop new experiences for people, whether it's in products they buy or places they go to or whatever. I've been involved in the fitness community since I was in university. So I've been going to group fitness classes and following fitness, but just as a participant. But a couple of years ago, two things happened. We had the pandemic, which really slowed things down, and all the gyms closed, and my group fitness community sort of evaporated. And I went through a lot of medical issues with back surgery and joint problems and so on. So it prompted me to really think, what could I produce? Since I'm an innovation consultant, I should be able to solve this problem. What could I produce that creates a fitness experience that is sensitive to these things, that builds a sense of community, and that sort of adapts to people as they go through different changes in their life, health-related changes, or the amount of time they have to spend on fitness, that kind of thing. I've read so much research on the impact of the pandemic on things like mental health and obesity and just general fitness. And it really taught me a lesson. It's something that we need to do on a consistent level or it goes away. So that was my inspiration for it.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing, Tom. Yeah, and I think the pandemic was definitely a hard time for all of us, and all of us had sort of, I guess, plenty of time to reflect on what we do, and we took for granted at that point. Right. So thanks for sharing, Tom. And what about you, Darek? What does MarianaTek do?
So we are a software agency, a full-service software agency, specialized in the fitness space, and we are an official MarianaTek partner. So we can help existing studio operators and new studio operators customize their experience with MarianaTek platform. So by saying that we are full service means that we can help with designing, developing, implementing additional features that improve user engagement, that improve and streamline operations. So anything that a studio want to have that is outside the standard MarianaTek platform.
Okay. So really a one-stop shop for all your software development needs.
We hope so.
Fair enough. So I think, to kind of get deeper into the conversation, I know, Tom, I know the platform you built is based on the MarianaTek platform, and that's kind of why we have you here today. And I'm aware that the solution you built is not live yet, so you probably don't want to share all the details just yet. But how much can you tell us about how the application works, and to sort of give our audience an idea of the type of project we were talking about here?
Certainly. So based on what we were trying to develop, we were looking for some sort of a software-based solution where we could offer a program, a very planned program that's balanced in a dynamic way, like I said before, that can change as people change. And it combines in-person training, pre-programmed workouts, and an algorithm-based technology to merge all those elements into one program. The algorithm and the software side helps us to personalize the program for each person. The trainers in the room are what keep it on track and provide a sense of community, because it's meant for a brick and mortar solution. And because the workouts will be pre-programmed, it allows the trainers to focus completely on the people in the room. The advantages that we build into it, and I'll talk a little bit about them, but like you said, I'm not going to go into deep detail. It adapts to changes in your body and in your life. The algorithm takes care of that. It's flexible, and it's really easy to insert in your daily schedule. And MarianaTek is especially good at that. It makes fitness easy for anyone. You know, I live in Los Angeles, and I see these very expensive boutique fitness studios everywhere around me. But for my concept, because I want it to be something that follows people through their life, I want it to be really accessible to anyone, regardless of their age or their experience in fitness or their body condition. And I want them to not be intimidated by fitness. I don't want them to have to overthink and be confused about what they should be doing from one day to the next. So the algorithm takes care of that part of it. I have a lot more to say about how we get people involved in the community, which isn't really a part of this conversation rather, but that's it in a nutshell.
Thanks for that, Tom. And I think, as the app is not launched yet, I think this is a good space to sort of say that Tom is currently searching for partners still sort of fundraising. So I don't know, Tom, if you want to add anything on that point here.
I'm on LinkedIn, so look me up if you're interested in any of the above, and send me a message. My contact information is on there.
Cool. No, thanks for that. So yeah, do reach out to Tom if it sounds like something that's down your road and something that is of interest to yourself. Definitely. Derek, so what are the other types of custom software solutions that can be implemented on the MarianaTek platform? So Tom here gave us one example of the use of a use case, but what's some of the others out there?
Mm-hmm. So MarianaTek is a great platform because it's a solid foundation for running a fitness studio. So you get all the basic features created, well tested, and appreciated by wide community. There is support. So it's really great to start with when you run your studio and when you grow. And but then during this journey of running such a business, you have other ideas, challenges, or that you want to overcome, and not all of them are served by out of the box software, no matter how good it is. There are always ways that you want to differentiate yourself. There are maybe challenges that are specific to your studio that you want to address. Maybe like in the case of LifeFlow Fitness, there are things and aspects that are very important to the core identity of your brand, like this algorithm that can lead members through their journey. So there is a wide area of possibilities that you can build as a custom solution. A great example of it is the fact that you can still use MarianaTek to run your operations, to manage the members and payments and so on, but you can take control of the user experience by building a custom mobile app that connects with the system. So this is an avenue that gives you a lot of opportunities in terms of choosing how the app will look like. All the look and feel can be fully customized, so you can go totally crazy. Then it's only your imagination and budget that is limiting you. But it also means that you can add extra features that are not present in the standard app. So give you an example, you can have your own notification system to engage members when you want and how you want. We can build a loyalty program where you can reward your members for certain activities, and then you can decide which activities will be rewarded and how you display it and how you encourage those members. You can put special offers for them. You can build a web shop where you can sell your merchandise within the app. You can integrate wearable devices and all the biometric data into the app to enhance their engagement. Recommendation engine. challenges, some social features. You can have ways, chat with a trainer. Actually, there are so many possibilities to build custom solution that it's more of question where to start and how to begin this journey. But it's a great platform, MarianaTek, because it's an open platform. It has an API that you can connect different systems with it, and you can connect this custom app that I discussed. So it's something definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing, Derek. Thanks for sharing some of the ideas there as well. I think that might be interesting for our listeners. No, but it sounds intriguing that you can take this, sort of hybrid approach where you get an off-the-shelf application that allows you so much customization, which then allows you to, do what Tom did and fully customize the experience in line with your brand. So amazing on that front. So I think this is more of a question for both of you guys. But Tom, maybe let's start with you in this and for this one. So what makes MarianaTek a good choice of a platform for fitness studios? So what's your sort of experience there?
Well, I mean, right from the start, I knew we needed some customization because we were algorithm based and that was core to our concept. But it was unaffordable for me to go completely custom right out of the box because we're a startup. And MarianaTek sort of gave the perfect hybrid solution for us, like Derek was describing. But that's not the only reason. One of my business partners, Zach, is he's a gym manager. He's worked at lots of different fitness studios, and he's also a personal trainer. And he really understands what it takes to provide good CRM and good gym management support, and MarianaTek was his choice too. He's worked with, I wrote them down here somewhere. He has worked with, I lost the list, MindBody for sure, PT Minder, and 3 or 4 other ones. And oh, here we go. MindBody, PT Minder, GymFlow, and MarianaTek. So he's worked with all 4 of those. And what he told me is, as far as the CRM features, the key performance indicators, the reporting tools that are built into MarianaTek, mobile integration, and an overall just sort of seamless user experience, that was his choice. So our need for personalization combined with the expertise that's already in the off-the-box solution, off-the-shelf solution for MarianaTek was really perfect. And we did a lot of research around this before we chose them.
Okay, no, sounds like you definitely did, considering all the sort of different competitors. No, thanks for that, Tom. And, same question for you, Derek. Obviously, you speak to a lot of founders and gyms around the world. So what's your take on this?
No, so as I discussed, I mean, maybe have changed since the pandemic. So like before pandemic, the ecosystems, they were closed. So if you rely on one system, then you could only use what that system provided, and maybe integrations that they provided. But nowadays, more and more, I see that this trend that platforms open up, they provide APIs, they allow connecting other things by studios themselves. It provides ability to build custom solutions. And I also see that this trend that this is now becoming also one of the criteria of studios when they are picking a platform, how open it is, and does it give them this flexibility? So it's no longer just what are the features that are existing, and this is opening up a lot of opportunities.
Derek, if I can jump in here to another story from our process, we realized early on that we were kind of pushing the limits of MarianaTek's 5th tab capability, but they've been so great to work with because they've helped us find workarounds for blocks that we were hitting because we were really, like I said, pushing the limits. And they shared with us some ideas about further integration capabilities that they have on the horizon. So, if we had to bet our money on a company that was going to be evolving as we evolved, it was MarianaTek.
Mm-hmm. So no, thanks for sharing your insight, guys. I mean, in terms of building this custom solution, so why build a custom solution? What do you guys think it brings to a fitness business? So Tom, maybe you can go first.
Sure. I mean, for us, it was like I said, it was core to the concept to have this personalization aspect built in and personalization around their actual fitness program. But what it gets us is, or what it will get us, is customer retention, because we want people to rely on the Fit tab so that they keep coming back again and again. We want that to be their technology-based personal trainer in a way, and because it's sensitive to changes in what happens in their life, the customization piece was critical to what we were doing. And I looked at all the other examples of how different studios have used the fifth tab at MarianaTek, and they're all interesting to me personally, but we had to prioritize and pick one. And for us, it was the one that was essential to our concept.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks. Thank you for sharing that. So, let's say some of our listeners have decided that such a custom part of the building such a solution is for them, and they would want to sort of go ahead with it. Can you guys maybe share a bit more about how long building such an integration takes? So again, Tom, I know you've just sort of you're fresh out of the experience. So how long did it take?
I believe our project ran from, and Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, ran from October to February. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, about 4 months all in all. And I'll get more into this later, I think, but I mean, it was an agile innovation process. We were developing it very quickly, and we had weekly meetings, and that kind of process kept things going at a fast pace.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a really quick, two markets time. Let's say get to market time. So I think that's no, thanks for sharing that. And Derek, what's your sort of experience on an average solution similar to Tom's or like this MarianaTek custom solution? How long does that normally take?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's about right in terms of the fifth tab. So what we've done for Tom, built a custom integration within existing MarianaTek app with the fifth tab, which allows for displaying such customized features. So these are usually projects that we expect to last about 2 to 4, 5 months. Relatively small, because the whole app, the mobile app, is already created. So we just need to build this fifth app features and display them. It's not that complex. Then building a fully custom mobile app that connects with MarianaTek platform, it's a bit bigger project, because then we need to also build the core features that already exist in MarianaTek app. So like booking, classes, and payments and other features. But then we are also speaking about, say, 3 to 6 months. So in that case, we'd rather increase the size of the team to make sure that it doesn't take much time. I think you're muted, Michał.
Thanks for that. No, thanks for sharing, Derek. But I can see we have a question from the audience as well. So Matt Burgess is asking, so what kind of customization can be done with the MarianaTek reports? Could we design our own retention KPIs and get MarianaTek to automatically calculate it? So is that something that's possible, Derek?
Yes, in general it is. You can build a custom reporting. It's just a matter of what you want to display and what kind of information can be pulled out of the platform. So I think it would have to be verified case by case basis. Mm-hmm. Platform is open, so you should be able to build such a custom dashboard either from scratch or start with some existing dashboards that you connect with the platform.
Yeah, so I think really, the answer for Matt is definitely get in touch with Derek, and if this is something you guys are looking into, and that's definitely something worth exploring and looking at closer, because as you heard, it sounds as though it should be doable.
And I
Cool.
understand that such reports is a very important like center of management and information within a company. So I understand that it may make sense, a lot of sense to add additional metrics and display them maybe in a slightly different way, so that you can get more out of the platform.
And I think that brings us on to our next topic, which might be interesting for Matt and anyone else listening. So, what about the cost? So, how much does such a solution, cost?
So, from our experience, building like a fifth app integration is usually about tens of thousands of dollars. So, let's say between $40,000 and $100,000 to build some additional features within the fifth app. When we think about building a custom mobile app, then because we need to also rebuild the standard features of the mobile app, it's a bit more expensive. So usually you should expect about $100,000, $200,000, maybe $300,000, and this includes the work on designing the interfaces, the architecture, developing the solution. So it's usually maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 developers, depending on the size of the project, working for a couple of months, and then testing to make sure that the solution works and doesn't crash when members download it. Apart from the one-off cost, so I understand that here in economics change versus licensing off-the-shelf solution, because it requires upfront investment, let's say $50,000, $100,000 to $100,000. So it may be a lot, but then you have to think that it's an upfront investment that you can use later. A couple of years, you can receive benefits of the solution. But you have to bear in mind, and also you have to remember that such technologies, they will need to be maintained, because it's a long-term project. Technology changes. So let's say an iOS platform is different now than it was 3 years ago, and will be different in 3 years.
Yeah, so it sounds as though there's a solution for every pocket, let's say, that can bring value. So no, thank you for sharing that, Derek. And do you feel such work can bring going custom? Does that bring a lot of value there? Do you think for the clients? Or
I mean, my opinion, I think I like how you put it, that it's a hybrid approach, because on the one hand of spectrum, you've got a solution that is already built, and you can use it, and you pay license for the usage, but you don't build anything custom. On the other hand of the spectrum, you've got a fully custom system with work with one studio operator, where we build a fully custom solution, but then you need to build the whole backend, all the user management, all the back office admin panel. Everything needs to be developed, so then it's a massive project. So I think that like building a custom mobile app sits somewhere in between, and it already allows you to differentiate yourself a lot, especially from the user perspective. So it gives you ability to shine in this area, maybe that is most important for you. So like how my members interact with my brand, how they distinguish me from other studios, how we engage them to keep coming back, and use technology to actually help retain members. I think that's important metric. So I think it's like a smart choice in today's market. But of course, it's case by case basis. Every studio operator needs to think maybe where they are on this journey, from like fully off the shelf to fully bespoke, if it's possible. But maybe this is a good way to distinguish themselves.
No, thanks for that. And Tom, sort of, I guess that leads us nicely onto the next question. So obviously this technology, where we're clear that it can give you a competitive advantage over the market. But how much sort of software knowledge is needed from a studio owner who wants to build a custom solution such as yours? So what's your experience there?
I mean, I personally have very little software knowledge. My partners have both worked with management software before, so they knew what features they were looking for, and they told me what to ask for. So that was helpful. But yeah, I had zero knowledge of how the software would work. I really relied heavily on my two partners, and I also relied heavily on both MarianaTek and Neoteric in that upfront phase, just to learn what the capabilities were. It took a little education on my part, but going into it, I didn't have any.
Okay. And so once you decided, Tom, that you do want to go down the custom route, which sounds like it was pretty early on, that it was meant to be the differentiator for your application. So how, once you decided you want to build a custom solution based on MarianaTek, how did you search for such a custom solution provider?
I mean, I was really lost at the outset because I had no experience in that area. MarianaTek gave me a list of contacts that I could reach out to, and so I started going down the list and doing interviews. I actually started down the road with one of these providers.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted was beyond their capabilities, and I realized after 3 weeks working with them that it was not going to work out. And so I went back to the list and I had more detailed conversations. And when I talked with Derek, I realized you guys are experts in fitness. You really specialize in fitness in general, and you partner very effectively with MarianaTek. So then it became kind of an obvious solution to me.
Fair enough. And what were some of the sort of key requirements for yourself in terms of the partner that you were looking for?
Well, like I said, the fitness expertise was critical because I needed to be able to explain my algorithm or my algorithm concept really in terms that someone in the technology area, in the development area, could understand and convert to actual code. And that takes at least a solid familiarity with all of the things that go into my algorithm. A lot of it is health related, so that it was specialized in that sense. I also wanted to be very hands-on in the whole process. I wanted to work very closely with the developer, especially after my first attempt that didn't work out. So I was looking for a developer that could be really collaborative, and you guys laid out a process for me that made sense to me. I've worked in agile innovation in other industries, especially the food industry, so I know what that process is like and what it takes. And when we laid it out, it just made sense to me.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Tom. And I think what's worth mentioning here to the viewers is that you were or we were fortunate enough to host you in our office in Gdańsk for in-person workshops as well. So did you feel that experience?
That was a luxury for me. I mean, it just worked out in my schedule and so on that I could actually stop in and see you. I think it was for the initial scoping to really get everyone on the same page, and then a very focused meeting to develop the algorithm. We had all the details sort of pulled together. I sat down with one of your developers, and I still remember the day sitting there with the whiteboard and just going through again and again how we optimize the algorithm and get everything to work. But those two sessions were really, really useful because they were the most collaborative, real-time collaborative sessions we do. I'm sure it can be done virtually. I've done virtual ideations and virtual agile innovation sessions, especially during the pandemic. But since I happened to be in Europe twice, I was able to just jump on a plane and see you guys.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think the takeaway here is, again, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, but if any of our viewers would want to, go down the same route, we'd be we'd be more than happy to host you in one of our offices in Gdańsk or Warsaw and carry out those in-person workshops.
Yeah, absolutely. Although it's not necessary. So like most of our clients are, they operate from the US. We had the privilege to welcome Tom in our offices, but in most of the cases, we also run such workshops remotely. So we've got tools to collaborate jointly online, to have interactive sessions where we use sticky boards, and we use different tools to enhance the experience so that we can be productive when working online.
And I think that kind of neatly brings us into the next question for Tom. So, Tom, do you feel we can achieve the right level of collaboration that's needed? I know you mentioned that's one of the key points you were looking for. Can we achieve the right level of collaboration without in-person meetings?
I'm sure it's possible. Like I said, since I've done this kind of agile process in other industries and done it virtually, I'm sure it's possible. The challenge to me from my side is the commitment to actually show up for those meetings and be prepared for them. They're not long. I mean, for the most part, these were 30-minute meetings once a week. So they aren't taking a big chunk out of my time, but they're necessary for Neoteric to move forward. So the commitment on my side to actually make it happen and show up for those weekly meetings was really important.
Fair enough. And did you feel the level of collaboration was consistent throughout the project right from the start?
Yeah, I mean, especially around the algorithm part, I mean, when I met with you guys to hash that out, we ended up in a better place than I had even imagined, because I got expertise from your side and suggestions and ways to work around problems that I thought we couldn't solve that elevated the project overall. So I think I mean, I feel like I'm throwing a lot of praise your way, but it really worked. I'm honest about that. And I like those kinds of projects in all the things I do. I like collaboration with my own clients when I do this kind of consulting work. So knowing how it feels from the consulting side, I think I put that to use well in how I acted as a client, and it worked.
Thanks for that, Tom. And Darek, do you want to add anything on the process in terms of what we do as Neoteric?
Maybe in general, like building custom software. So I wanted to highlight that it's not so much project; it's more like a process. So when you think about building anything custom, think that it's gonna be a learning process, not just before the project starts, but also through the project. New things are discovered, new ways, new ideas, how to address the issues, some blockers coming up, how to overcome them. So it's as Tom described, is a collaborative process, and you have to be open to this. And also building this up, you can think of, this is also a long-term process, because maybe you build version 1 of the app, you give it to the members, they interact with the app, and then you collect feedback of how they would like to change it. So maybe after some time, you want to come back and implement further changes and adjust it further. So in general, building software is more like a process. I totally agree.
No, thanks for that, Darek. And what challenges? Again, I think this is a good one for Tom. Seeing as you went through this, what, like Darek said, the process of development. So, what challenges should any of our viewers, listeners, be ready for in the software development world? What did you find?
I mean, as I think about the whole process, the points in the process where I knew I had to sort of step it up to make it work well was sharing the vision in that initial meeting with you guys. I needed to really communicate what it was I was trying to do with the 5th tab, and that was on me to be able to explain exactly what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it that way, so that you could bring your best thinking to the table. I already talked about the commitment process, showing up for those meetings, and a lot of that on my side was just reviewing your work. So I would get a link from you to go and review a wireframe or to review test use cases. And, I would have to spend a little time just looking at that, commenting on it, and getting it back to you so you could move forward. So that's part of the commitment too. Derek kind of alluded to it, but yeah, there were roadblocks along the way. I mean, we got stuck a couple of times because we were pushing the boundaries of what the fifth tab had done so far at MarianaTek. And in those cases, we brought MarianaTek's tech people in, and we had a three-way collaboration going to get beyond those roadblocks. And sometimes the outcome wasn't what we anticipated, I guess. But being open to that kind of flexible process as you go through the development it's sometimes a little bit. It makes me wonder, okay, are we on the right track here? But since the turnaround time from 1 week to the next is quick, I can very quickly see, is it going the right way or the wrong way, and then make course corrections. That kind of, they call it agile for a reason, being able to pivot and find workarounds and do course corrections throughout the process is so important. And those are the main challenges, though.
And was that this sort of agile process, is that something you were already used to, Tom, or is that something you had to pick up?
Like I said, I'd done it in the food industry before, in food development, so a few times. So I knew sort of what the really priority points were in the process, and could step up and do what I needed to keep things moving. In a process like that, I mean, the way that we set it up, and Derek, I don't know if you want to speak to this or not, but in the way that we set it up, it's really time is money. The billing structure that we set up was paid to sort of cover X amount of hours, and if we went over that, I had to pay more. So I needed to stay involved to control the cost and be prepared. If there were big roadblocks, we might creep over a little bit, but I was prepared for that up front.
Yeah, so it sounds before Derek, who might want to add something here, it sounds as though it's almost a case of trust the process, but also be a part of the process to kind of control it in that sense.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Derek, anything to add here?
No, I think it's well described. So I'm happy to show you, an example of what is possible when you build custom software. I think that can give our audience some idea of the possibilities.
Yeah, definitely. I think it might be interesting for our viewers to see exactly what sort of thing is possible. So feel free to share your screen and show us the sort of thing.
So Army is one of the studios who went this route of custom app with MarianaTek platform, and you can see Army. In their case, the user experience is fully custom, so you can have transitions that you want. You can have all the colors, all the way you search through the book session. Everything is different than the standard app. So in this case, you can book classes that are in the studio, but you can also book Zoom classes and pop-up classes. And when you book, you can also choose which bike you want from the studio and make sure that this bike will be waiting for you. And you can buy credits. And there are many different possibilities that you can use to customize experience, like here.
Definitely looks impressive, I think. And what parts of the MarianaTek platform did these guys utilize? How did the journey look here, Derek?
It was the fully custom mobile app and web app that you can see at the moment, powered by MarianaTek platform.
Okay, no, thanks for sharing, Derek. So, go for it, Tom.
Something came to mind while you're showing that, Derek. I had zero expertise in UX UI, so I really leaned heavily on you guys to help guide me. And a lot of that is my preparation on my side, preparing the brand identity, the brand positioning, how we want the app to feel when people are actually using it. So that was a new experience for me, sort of briefing the developers on that part of the process to end up with an app, which, yeah, unfortunately I'm not going to share today, but an app that looked and felt and worked in a way that was consistent with our brand positioning, which is very different from Army's. I only thought about that when I saw the Army one, and I thought, okay, ours ended up very different like that, but for a reason.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think the message to put out there again is that a lot we do have experience, or Neoteric has the experience on the design front as well, so we can support that side of things as well. And just to add on the Army app, that if any of our viewers do want to play with it, I believe it's available on the App Store. Isn't it, Derek?
Yes, it's possible to download it and register, open up an account, and you can test it yourself.
Yeah, so there's not a better way to try things out than testing yourself. So we definitely encourage our viewers to do just that. And I think sort of moving on to another aspect that's, I know, very interesting to a lot of our listeners, because it's a question we repeatedly come across. So when you're working with an agency such as Neoteric, so who has the IP rights for the application? I think that's maybe one for you, Derek.
Mm-hmm. So when we build software, that software is owned by our client, so that we don't retain any IP, and any code that we create, this is custom work, so that it's handed over to the client, and then they take ownership. They are then able to make profits out of it. They can sell it. They can change it themselves. It's as if it was developed by their own developers. The difference is that they don't need to go through the process of hiring those developers, building internal software development capacity in the company, but they can get experts that are ready as a team to take such a project. But other than that, they benefit with having their own solution.
Mm-hmm. And then when does this IP transfer take place? Is it right at the end of the project, or how does that work?
Yes, so that's basically organized in this way, that because we deliver work in iterations as we go along, and then the payments also happen as we go along on monthly basis. So it's basically when the work is delivered and the work is paid, and the ownership is transferred to the client.
Okay, sounds good. So you don't have to wait right till the end to get the IP for the state-of-the-art application. That just sort of happens gradually. Mm-hmm. Cool. And in terms of a cooperation with an agency like Neoteric, what does such a cooperation cover? So I mean, what I'm thinking about, does it cover the maintenance of the app, publishing the App Store, any bug fixes, things like that?
Mm-hmm. So in the development phase, we have a team that is assigned to the project, working to create the solution, create the app, or create a dashboard. Can be a dashboard like Matt has asked us. And then once this is developed, there is an option to sign up for a maintenance mode, where we just take care of making sure that it works properly, and if there are any minor tweaks that need to be applied, then we can also help. But because it's a smaller engagement, then it can run for a longer period of time. So there are those two modes. It's either development mode, or there is a maintenance mode where you can help.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you for sharing that. And in terms of that really kind of brings us towards the end of our webinar. So really, we have some space left for final thoughts that you guys might have. So I think
absolutely. I mean, I encourage our audience to ask any questions that you might be having, because I think we're trying to cover this topic from different angles, but if there are any additional questions from the audience, I think Tom and I will be very happy to answer.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. So, Matt, if you have any follow-up questions or any of the other guys listening to us, if you do want to ask anything, feel free to do so. But for the time being, just to give our audience a bit of time to sort of come up with those questions. So based on your experience, guys, what is your advice for somebody who would be looking to build custom solutions with a MarianaTek platforms? Sort of a list of do's and don'ts, if you like. So again, maybe if we can start with Tom and then go from there.
Well, and I kind of touched on this before, but know what you want the software to do for you, and do some homework and figure out exactly what you want. Like Matt's question about custom APIs, I think KPIs rather, is an important one. Having all of those listed out right from the start, to the extent that you can, is really important, because it gives Neoteric and MarianaTek a chance to go back and forth and determine, okay, is this feasible? Do we have a solution for it already worked out? If not, how much would it take to get to a solution? Those kinds of things are important to know up front. And I mean, that's, other than what I've already said, I think that's all I can add to the process.
And I would also add that because this is a hybrid solution, so we don't build like a full custom end-to-end platform. We rely on existing platform. So it's always important to check, verify what is possible and what is not possible before you start the development phase. So don't assume that things will work. Ask, use your technology partner to help and check it for you what is possible. I think that's going to be very important. Because
during our process, most of the time the conversation was between Neoteric and MarianaTek. I didn't get involved in those because they were highly technical discussions. But we did have one collaboration call where we had the technical people from MarianaTek on the line as well. And it was really useful because it was a call that was needed to really flesh out, okay, these are some things that we really want to do, and now we're hitting roadblocks. MarianaTek, do you have ideas? Do you have solutions? And being able to quickly get together and put our thinking together was, it was one of those workaround moments that was really essential in the process. But what I don't want to imply is that I had to be separately calling you and calling MarianaTek and doing all of that. Most of the communication was between MarianaTek and Neoteric. I didn't have to get involved in that.
And I think it's a good place as well to mention that Neoteric does have a partnership with MarianaTek, isn't that right, Derek?
Yes, and we know the platform, so we know a lot of possibilities of the platform and limitations. But of course, we still rely on MarianaTek as a partner to help us check some details. So such project is a three-way collaboration to some extent.
No, thanks for that. And I think we briefly touched on this previously, just to sort of go back a bit. So obviously we mentioned Tom coming to see the Neoteric team in Gdańsk for the workshops. But I think what might be interesting to some of our viewers is, what does the process normally look like, Derek? So how, if any of our viewers are interested, how does such an engagement with Neoteric work? How does it start off?
So if there is a studio operator who has some ideas, I would encourage to reach out. I think it's best to reach out to me and share your idea. And let's see what is possible. Like what are the business goals and what is possible. And let's see if this is something that can be built. Let's explore it. So for all the participants of today's session, we are very happy to offer a free scoping session to go through those ideas, check what is possible, and through this session we can guide and we can advise. Is it possible? How to go about it? What are some limitations? And in this way, you can at least verify. Maybe there are some ideas that you already have in your heads for some time, but you were not sure if they are possible, like this idea about the custom dashboards with retention data. So similar ideas we can verify and we can tell you if it's possible. So then you don't have to scratch your head anymore.
No, for sure. I would say, yeah, we definitely encourage our audience to do just that. So, any other questions from anyone at all? I don't see we have anything. So, in that case, unless you guys want to add anything, any 3 points at the end to add from your end, guys?
Like I said, I'm looking for partnerships and investors. So hit me up on LinkedIn if you're interested.
For sure. So no, definitely do reach out to Tom. He's a great guy, and definitely a pleasure to work with. And all of us at Neoteric thoroughly enjoyed going through the process with Tom. So thanks for that. And let's in that case wrap up and call it a day. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for taking us through Life Flow Fitness, Tom. Derek, thanks for sharing your insights of the industry as well. And we hope to see you next time, guys.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye.